Life has many meanings, but most of all, your life should have a purpose. Leadership, skills that conclude value, characteristics, how are they developed, strategy, meaning, value, purpose, the conclusion of a lifetime before it's time. To help you understand your purpose, one must reflect on the lives of others. Footprints and trails are cut so we can walk through life more upright, more intelligent, and more spiritual in our dreams for creating neighborhoods and better realities for others to cast their eyes on the past and be inspired by the future. Purpose and Conclusion, presented by Rolling Out Television.
Radio host Tom Joyner, Oscar-nominated actor Don Cheadle, Queen of Rock and Roll singing sensation Tina Turner. What do these celebrities all have in common? Sadly, what they have in common is what many African Americans have in common: a complete mystery surrounding their genealogy. One of the ugliest legacies of slavery is the complete loss of a sense of lineage for most African Americans. But Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr., Harvard scholar, has founded the African American Lives Program. The program is designed to help African Americans, through DNA, discover a little bit more about their roots. The widely acclaimed miniseries is broadcast on PBS and dedicated to researching the roots of 12 African American celebrities, including Dr. Gates himself.
So you're my cousin.
Yeah, distant cousin.
I'm finding home here, brother. I'm finding my family.
Like the aforementioned Joyner, Turner, and Cheadle, celebrities have come to find out a little bit more about who, their family, and they are. Come tune in with Rolling Out as we find out our purpose and conclusion with Henry Louis Skip Gates Jr. and uncovering our past.
It's so nice to be here back at Morehouse College. I've spoken here several times. I love Morehouse. I mean, I love the particular look of a Morehouse man. I mean, I'll tell you a story. One time I got on an airplane. I had a three-piece suit on. And a beautiful black woman was a flight attendant. And she said, "Are you a Morehouse man?" And I looked at her and I said, "How did you know?" Now, I didn't go to Morehouse, but I did for the length of that flight. But Morehouse has a great new president, my friend Walter Fluker, who's been a fellow at the Du Bois Institute, is here and is curating the King Papers, and I have the pleasure of being on the advisory board of the Martin Luther King Papers, and so it's a great honor to be here, and I love Atlanta. And I love Atlanta for many, many reasons, but my daughter, by the way, went to Spelman. But I love it because of the warm welcome that the Coca-Cola Corporation has given to my ideas. We came down, tap dance. Everybody is hustling every major corporation for some kind of sponsorship. And you never know. You have your little dog and pony show, you come down, you tap dance, you do the best that you can do. And a rare thing happened. I was able to connect with the person and the staff that I was pitching to, headed by Ingrid Saunders Jones. You have a click. She and I were talking about this the other day. And we had a click. It was a match between my dreams and her capacity to make, and her meaning Coca-Cola, the capacity of Coca-Cola to make that dream come real. And the two fields overlapped. I was proposing something that spoke to them and to which they responded. And as I said this morning, when I first met the audience at Coca-Cola 3 years ago, I didn't know if it was going to be a long-term relationship or a one-night stand. And we're still here. So that is definitely a good thing. Coca's our first sponsor, our principal sponsor. They have really made this possible. And the result, 11 million people watched African American Lives. Wow. 4 million people. And PBS never gets figures like that. And this is a black program. People say, or they used to say, black people won't watch PBS. They will if you give them programming that they can respond to. last year, a year ago in January, we aired Finding Oprah's Roots on a Wednesday night against Simon. What do you call it? American Idol? Against American Idol. 4 million people watched Finding Oprah's Roots. And we expect those numbers, God willing, to be high on February 6th and February 13th. We have gotten better at what we are trying to do. We have learned as we've gone along. We were blessed to have rave reviews universally with Lives, but really African American Lives 2 is a much better program. We were able to in the last 3 years, we learned a lot more about genealogical analysis of black people who were descended from slaves. Now, all black people are descended from slaves. The only, unless you're a recent immigrant from Africa, the only question is when your people became free. In 1860, there were 3.9, sorry, I'm just getting over a cold. There were 3.9 million slaves in the federal census and about 460,000 free Negroes. So the question is, when were your slaves freed, as it were? And so 90% of us are descended from people who weren't freed till the end of the Civil War. How do you trace individuals who had no legal name? No name that the law was bound to respect or acknowledge. And we've learned how to do that. And in a case after case after case, you'll see that we're able to go through, first of all, find the white man who owned, say, Morgan Freeman's ancestors or Chris Rock's ancestors, and then go through their papers, tax records, estate division records, wills, and they would list that ancestor by their first name. And we match them up by the age and the name. And it's really exciting. It's like finding a lost treasure of African American history. That's what you can do through genealogy. And we also took a risk, and Tammy can tell you, but internally we had lots of arguments about this. We had 8 guests in the first program. This time we have 11. So a lot more stories. But it enabled us, ironically, to tell a richer story. I got this idea in the middle of the night, one night several years ago, and I decided that what I wanted to try to do was to do roots in a test tube, roots in a laboratory. And I pitched the idea to PBS and Channel 13 and to Coca-Cola, principally around the idea of revealing their African roots, the Alex Haley moment. But you know what? The biggest surprise to me doing the series, because that's not the more emotive part. That's not the part that generates emotions in my guests, profound emotions. They're intellectually fascinated by their African origin, but the part that moves them most fundamentally, moves them to their core, moves them, as you'll see in Chris Rock's case, to tears, is the revelation of their African American ancestry back to slavery. And none of these people knows anything about their family tree. And I can't believe it. Oprah didn't, Chris Rock didn't, Tom Joyner didn't, Don Cheadle didn't, and we found so many stories. And here's the great Tom Joyner right now, and he can tell you about his own reaction. We found the white man, 25% of all African American males, 25% are descended from a white man in slavery. And we found the white man that Morgan Freeman is descended from, and the white man that Tom Joyner is descended from. Only 5% of the African American people are descended from Native Americans, but 100% think they are. 58% of the African American people overall have 12.5% European ancestry. So we are a mulatto people. We are an American people. Black people are, by and large, mostly white. Don Cheadle, 19% European. We did Chris Rock on a Thursday. The interviews last about 5 hours. I do a revelation kind of book of life. So I did Chris Rock on a Thursday, in New York. Then flew up to Toronto and did Don Cheadle. He was finishing a film. So we revealed Chris's admixture. It's called an admixture test. We said, Chris, you're 80% African. And he said, well, at least I'm not as black as Don Cheadle. I'm Henry Louis Gates Jr. I'm the executive producer and host of African American Lives 2, and you're watching Rolling Out TV.